Welcome, everyone. Happy St. Patty's Day. Thank you for being here. We want to let you know that we appreciate all of you from around the world joining us today to celebrate amazing women of influence. Our theme and focus for today will be on women showcasing their expertise and how their expertise and efforts make such a significant impact to so many. We want to ask you, our audience, as you sit back, take it in and listen, please, in the center of your screen, you're going to notice at the bottom, there's a Q&A box. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to use that. And what we'll do at the end is address some of your questions. But to kick us off today, we're going to introduce our panelist of Amazing Women. Starting us off today is Parker Dunahay. She is our eXp Realty Vice President of Agent Experience. Welcome, Parker. Go ahead and share a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi, Catherine, and welcome, everybody. As Catherine said, my name's Parker Dunahay, and I work here at eXp. I've been here about 3 years, and prior to that, I've owned my own real estate company. I've run real estate associations and MLSs, helped my mother. Real estate and business is kind of pretty much everything I've ever done, and including teaching and coaching and mentoring. So wide open experiences.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Parker. Welcome. And then next we have Julie Nelson. She is a successful author, coach, and real estate agent, also with eXp. Julie, share a bit about yourself.
Good morning. I'm in Austin, Texas. I've been in the industry for 22 years. I was the director of training in the largest real estate office in the United States for 5 years. I've been with eXp for about 4.5 years now. So I'm a practicing agent here in Austin, and I'm a coach and a trainer. I'm a published author for in the industry in both English and Spanish, I might add. I'm excited about that.
Woo-hoo.
And just really excited to be here with y'all this morning. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Julie. We are glad to have you. And then our final panelist is Jen Van Burkleo. We are so grateful to have her, and she is eXp Realty's Senior Director of Events and Social Media. Jen, share about yourself as well.
Yeah, you bet. All right. So I live in Seattle. It's a little dark here right now. I've been with eXp also for 4.5 years. It'll be 5 years coming up in October. Work super closely with Parker and Julie, part of the LGBT network. I also am a 2-time Emmy nominated producer. I came from a news background. So I've done everything from scaling events up to like 88,000 kind of attendees. I've helped anchors, establish their social media presence, and super excited that I was able to join eXp 5 years ago and bring that skill set over. So.
Absolutely. And you have brought so much to us. We are so grateful to have you. And so thank you, ladies, for being here. So to start us off, from reading each of your bios, you all focus on improving the agent's involvement, their work environment, and experience in so many ways. But when it comes to yourselves, can you share with us, how do you define your personal level of expertise? And also, how do you continually develop your expertise?
Well, I'll kick us off. I define personal expertise by taking every opportunity to learn something. Lots of people talk about celebrating wins or successes, but I think it's better rephrased at like, what did you learn? And then keep learning till you can teach others. And then when you think you've mastered that, then find ways to break what you just figured out and completely rebuild it to something bigger and better every time. And how do I continue to build on my expertise? I encourage everyone on my team. It's about our way of thinking. And as we grow and as our processes evolve, I need to grow to stay relevant for them. So I regularly ask myself, like, who and what do I need to be to support them at the highest level? How can I help them be their best self? So then I go and develop what I need. And it's all about giving them the freedom to become their best selves. And I surround myself with people who want to take risks, who challenge me every day, and who challenge the status quo. That's how I continue to grow.
Absolutely. That's very, very important with challenging. And Julie, share with us how do
Sure. I think it's kind of leaning on what Parker said. I think it's a real fluid process, and it's a mindset. But with that, it's like defining your own personal level of expertise. Well, it's a moving target, and it can wax and wane.
Yeah,
so I think it starts with kind of having an awareness of that fluidity, and kind of a commitment to being that person who is learning based. And also at the same time, we're all in a world that is so vast, and things are thrown at us. I mean, there may be 100 things on your radar. So what are you going to lean in? What are you going to commit to and lean into? Because you can't do it all. So it may be, what am I leaning into this week, or what am I leaning into this month, or what is my theme or my focus this year? What am I leaning into now? So having an awareness of that, having it written down, and prioritizing that, because it can wax and wane. And so if we kind of create a little bit of structure there underneath it, and an awareness and an intention, then we can keep that saw sharp, if you will.
Absolutely. Yes. And Jen, share your thoughts.
I was going to say, I echo both what Parker and Julie said. As far as a definition of the personal level, I try not to have a label on that, because I feel like I'm really like a sponge, and I'm here to soak up as much knowledge and information as I possibly can. And then how can I relay that to my team to make sure they're set up for success? So I'm always constantly learning and evolving, like Julie pointed out. And at the same time, when I meet with my team, we have stand-ups, right? Like, we're always talking about a career path down the road, or what they want to do next, and how we're going to develop them.
Yep.
And you can put a plan in place. What does that look like? Because I also want the team to grow and stay within the company. So if they're happy, then in return, they usually will stay. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And you're right. I mean, learning and waxing and waning, I mean, those are some of the keys to staying consistently and evolving, right, in each of our levels of expertise. So yeah, thank you, ladies, for sharing that. And then Parker, I'm actually going to kick you off with this next question. From your bio, you even said this in your introduction to all of us today. You took over, right, for your mother's franchise really young, out of college. And so you talk about learning, waxing, waning, all of that. It must have been not only challenging, but scary and exciting all at the same time. Well, today in our audience, we probably have agents and definitely professionals who are very young, right, in their journey. Tell us, Parker, about one or two women that kind of stand out, that help to influence and even spur you on of that journey of expanding and developing into your expertise.
Well, so definitely my mother. When she had been in real estate probably 25 years when I got out of college, and I got my real estate license long before that so that I could help her, because there's just not much you can do without a license. So coming out of college, I helped her kick off 2 brands that first year while I decided like what I wanted to do with my life. And I built a commercial division for her and a property management division. And I watched her at the time. Real estate has been women driven, but they were agents. They weren't business owners. They weren't franchisees. And I watched her like forge this path as owner and get at the board of directors locally and on the state and become chair of NAR committees and you just the things. But while I watched her do that and the struggles she had, I listened. I listened to the way people talked about the females like her in the industry forging a path as owners and business people. And it helped me, she helped me develop the belief, like Jen just said, she doesn't label it. I don't believe in labels, and I don't let myself be driven by gender or degrees or anything like that. I don't think that is what dictates the impact you can make in this world. It's your choices, it's your drive, it's your vision. Julie said it's your mindset.
So
It's
true.
that, it's that willingness to be vulnerable while pursuing your passions. And that's what I saw my mother do. And that's what I want to give back to everyone who I interact with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Julie, Jen, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, my mom too, right? I mean, she wasn't in the industry, but she was in the Army. So we traveled a lot. I saw how people respected her, the difference, right? When she's in her BDUs versus when she's in her civilian clothes and all of that kind of stuff. And then on the flip side, when she got out of the military, she decided to use her GI Bill to get a college education. And the way that that was able to provide for our family and like level up as I was growing up, that really motivated me. And then on the flip side, more recently, our CMO, Courtney Chacaron, she's been with us a little over a year. And as soon as she came in, she really, really empowered the team. And it was all about, what are we doing? Where's the data to prove that this is worth our time? Like, where can we go from here? What processes can we streamline? Like, do we need to level up your support team? Like, it was very much a leader of, I'm here to help you, and whatever you need, I'm here to support that growth. So those are the two women that really stand out to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I could definitely say from my, experience here at EXP, I'm just a shy of a year. I've too have had the privilege of just seeing empowering leadership in women on my team with Megan, Ilaria, and others. So yeah, I would definitely agree. Jen, with this next question, I'm going to kick it off with you. I'm sure you just talked about working with Courtney yourself, right? As a leader, you're guiding others consistently, right, to develop. And that could be a very challenging responsibility as well as rewarding. Tell us a little bit more about other women that you have helped to either grow or develop and promote really their expertise, whether through mentoring or coaching.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, so my team right now are all women with the exception of one. Shout out to Matt, but everybody else on my team are all women. So, and they have various degrees of expertise. Some people, don't have a college education, but they are so motivated and are so great at what they do. Like Parker said, that kind of paper doesn't really mean that much to me. It's more of the mindset on where you want to go, what skill sets can you bring to the table. And then during our one-on-ones, right, we're not just talking about roadblocks and things like that. We're also talking about opportunities. If there's things that they want to try out, be creative, innovative, what can we do to make that happen? Because, Glenn is of the mindset of self-organizing, right? If we can do it and achieve it, let's do it. So me, I don't ever want to say no. It's always like, how do we get you to the next step? So if I have some people on my event team who want to expand more or have more relationships with our vendors, we can send them to an event. So next month, I actually have 2 of my event girls going out to meet with our vendor, and they'll be there for the entire week and learning about like the latest technology and options, for our different events. And then on the flip side for social media, I mean, there's like social media marketing world. There's a lot of different conferences that you can get people tuned into what they're doing and their level of expertise. Because when I first joined EXP, we were just building the marketing department. So I was a party of one when it came to social. So I really, really enjoyed being able to collaborate with other creators when I was going to these like social media conferences. So in tune, passing that along to my team, that's where the opportunity comes, right? And then they come back with takeaways. They are empowered to teach us what they learned, what we should be doing, what we should stop doing. And putting people on stage too. Like if I have somebody who really wants to get in front of the camera or wants to be on stage more and present, how do we make that happen? It could be the Friday leadership meeting. It could be the staff meetings. So we look for opportunities to kind of field them into whatever it is they're looking to do so they can hone in on that and grow.
Absolutely. And that's important. Yeah. Looking for those opportunities to make sure others can propel forward. Yeah. So thank you for that, Jen. Julie.
I think I have a thought on that. I love what y'all are saying is kind of, and there's two sides of this because as a leader and an influencer, sometimes, like I run a weekly mastermind for my agents across the country, and this is just one of my easiest examples I can use. And sometimes, and depending whether they're in their second year in real estate or their 22nd year in real estate, sometimes I find myself being kind of the chief encourager. Yeah. Like helping my agents believe in themselves more than they, like me believing in them, sometimes more than they are believing in themselves. And if you look at which isn't all the time, like they may go through a slump where it's like, oh man, I'm seeing so much potential in this person, and they're not feeling very good about themselves right now. So they need a chief encourager. But think about that for yourself as well. It's like we need to have people in our lives that do that for us. So I have a business coach. I've worked with her for, oh gosh, quite a while now. And I feel like that's one of the main things she does for me now and then. Yeah. If I'm not being super kind to myself, she's the one who's like, she's believing in me when I'm not believing in myself. So to push us through those rough spots. So are you doing that for others? And do you have some people in your life that do that for you?
That's right. That's so important to kind of surround ourselves, almost make sure that, we have a board of people. I once heard, in a business sense, if you kind of have a board of folks around you to like a chairman, how you have.
Yeah. Who's your personal board of directors?
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah.
Like,
your personal board. And I love that, having being a chief encourager. That is so important because, we're hard on ourselves, right? As women, especially. And so therefore having that opportunity to be encouraged, to be empowered in that way is so important. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Parker, anything to share and add to that?
Sure. We really focus in EXP in our department in our one-on-ones. And along with what Julie was saying, for us, we focus our conversations around knowledge, attitude, mindset, like that, and skills and habits, because at any one time, we could be needing to focus on that to build our expertise or to build our confidence sometimes. Sometimes we have all the expertise in the world, but we're just afraid to showcase it. So we build our conversations around those four places. We call it cash talks. And it spread. I've had women in EXP reach out to me to get together regularly to talk about cash. And I've reached out to women to talk about cash, and it's just such an honor to be able to explore and support other women's journeys. And then in our department, of course, it's not just women; it's a lot of men, and we try not to put those labels and things on them. So it's a lot of fun.
Is cash an acronym?
Yeah, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, because all four of those is what builds our expertise and success.
I love it.
We can't work on all of them all the time, but building on them all the time will evolve us to the next level.
Yeah.
I was going to add to that too. And I think Julie said something earlier that kind of spurred something, but I feel like imposter syndrome is such a real thing that when it comes to encouraging officer, empowerment officer, it's almost like telling them you do have the skill set, empowered to bring to the table, like to try. And if you're going to fail fast. Like it's not going to be detrimental to where anybody's going to lose their job. That's not what we're in the business of doing. So I think the imposter syndrome is so real, even on our side, right? I think that's why we surround ourselves with mentors and people who we feel like we can elevate us, right? Or we can mentor or learn from. So, but yeah, I've experienced that within my team too, where they're comparing themselves, right, to maybe somebody else's expertise or background. And everybody comes in with something different. That's why we all have all these different roles. So it's really important to, like Julie was mentioning, empower and encourage.
Yeah. Well, and especially when there's a learning curve, that imposter syndrome kind of, sits on your shoulder and it's like, okay, no, go away. But you need your encouragers because it's because of, a learning curve or maybe, what's the saying? It's like, don't compare someone else's highlight reel to your behind the scenes.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's just related to that imposter syndrome thing that we're all familiar with, I think.
Right. Yeah, because you're the only one walking in your shoes and you know what your experience is, right? And how others can help you move on and grow. And so absolutely. Absolutely.
And are you harder on yourself than you tend to be on others?
Yes. Yeah. And Julie, we're going to continue with you because in leading into the next question, from your bio, you're actually known a bit, in the industry as an agent whisperer, which is, really, really, you talk about, wow, being the chief encourager. And your specialties in this area, though, of being an agent whisperer, I understand, is you guide agents and you help agents to hit the reset button. So, share with us, given all of that, that can be stressful sometimes and demanding,
Sure.
Keeping up that level of expertise and so forth. So how do you manage stress and maintain mental health?
Well, it's a great idea. I mean, a great concept, and like how do we do that? And I think it starts with an awareness of just a personal awareness, because is that stress, is it sneaking up on you and you're in denial and you're ignoring it, so it's kind of building up, or are you maintaining? So it's like, pushing through that. Self-care comes into play. That's right. And we can't, we've got to be really careful about if you're running that gas tank on, just almost on empty the majority of the time, it's not sustainable. So that stress management and staying in the game, we have to recognize that we're human beings, that we have full lives, and the balance thing, kind of the pursuit of balance, can be a little elusive, and it's an ongoing thing. But you can't, you're gonna have trouble taking care of the other people on the bus if you're not taking care of yourself. So, it's like, have clarity of who you are, where you're going, and taking responsibility. Really on a daily basis of that journey, being a good steward of your own journey, so you can possibly be a good steward, or, if you will, chief encourager for other people.
Well said, being a good steward of your own journey. Very well said. Jen, share some thoughts on, especially, maintain, you've got all the events, big, small, all of that. Yeah, share with us, how do you balance stress and, mental health and all of that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that as a leader, it starts from the top down, right? Like, if you're super stressed out and you're working long hours and on the weekends, what does that say to your team? Are they feeling the pressure to feel like they have to do that because they're looking up to what you're doing? You're setting the example. And I got into that rut where I was, especially coming up to events, we work a lot more on the weekends and like longer days. But on the flip side, we try to have a balance. So one of the girls on my team is also certified in bar. So we've had Zoom calls where we have done bar, right, all together, or we have our fit watches that we all do challenges. And even this morning, right after this, my team is doing like a 10-minute meditation. We're trying it out this week, just so we can really set our intentions for the day, know that no matter what's happening, what's getting stressful, at the end of the day, we're one team, one dream. It will all be okay. And so that's the different ways that we're, working just to make sure that as a team, collectively, that we're good. It's not just me, right, and my own mental stress and whatever's going on with me. So at the end of every day, I always check in on the team. How's everybody doing? Is everybody's workloads even? Like, I don't want one person to feel like they're really holding the brunt of everything. Because again, one team, one dream. So the mental health is super, super important. And that's why I tell my team, if there's a moment that you need to take away or go on a walk or whatever that looks like for you, gosh, do it. If it's going to make you have a better mindset and feel better when you come back from your walk, which I think everybody feels a little bit better after they go on a walk, and you can show up as your best self. That's what's so important, because when you feel overworked, stressed out, it starts to impact your mentality and how dedicated you are to your work, right? And it kind of stifles the creativity. So I really encourage my entire team to take as much time as they need to, and doing all the meditation and things, I think, is helping. So
That's right. I like that. Yeah.
That stifling of the creativity. We all have like this voice inside our heads that sometimes is our advocate and sometimes not so much our advocate. It's kind of like that roommate in your head, or sometimes there's an entire committee in your head, and is that committee or roommate really your advocate or not? And again, I tap into my coach. If that gets out of balance, like if I'm aware that that's out of balance, I might even text her and say, help, it's like, help me off of this cliff, right? It's like, hey, I'm having a mindset day and do you have time? Do you have a few minutes? Right. And it's just a quick call for help to say, hey, I could use a little encouragement for just a few minutes. And sometimes that fixes it, and sometimes going out and working in the garden for an hour fixes it too.
Absolutely.
Something Jen alluded to, and we've been talking about, yes, mindset. I'm a firm believer in our positive mindsets, our growth mindsets. But I think what we're circling around, or at least for me, is it's permission. Like, we give ourselves permission, and then we show that to our team, to the people around us, and grant them permission to not be perfect, permission to be brave and try something. It's about permission, like permission to take time off. If you're not taking time off as a leader, then you're setting the whole mindset down the line and all around you that they have to work 24/7 too. So we live by example, we set our examples, but in doing so, we give everyone permission to get out of their own way.
Absolutely.
Be their best self.
Absolutely. And that is so important, giving ourselves a break. And, I think, Jen, you said too, because otherwise it stifles the creativity and productivity, so it is important that we encourage one another, support each other through that. And I love that, the permission that it's okay, that if it's not perfect, we can do better next time. That's critical, and so forth. So yeah, thank you, ladies, for sharing that. And then, so when it comes to, looking at the leadership role, Jen, Julie, both of you have founded your own companies. Parker, you've been a managing broker, owner, and all of these roles entail a high degree, right, of responsibility, vision, expertise, and needed support. And there's a lot of discussion and even research these days that have spoken about that there are not enough females, right, in CEO leadership roles. Would you say that your leadership and expertise is any different from males, right, who have either led or founded companies in similar markets to where each of you are, whether it's real estate, production, media, things like that? Yeah, share your thoughts on that.
I was going to say yes and no. I mean, I think for me, I think men obviously have they can have similar skill sets and have things that they bring to the table that are very equivalent to what I'm doing and maybe what other women are doing out there too.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is the relatability. I think that my team feels more comfortable talking to me, the women do, if they have a certain issue. I'm more empathetic, you know, those kind of things. But I think as far as skill sets, doesn't really make a difference. But I think the being empathic, right, to the team and being aware is just what makes it a little bit different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Parker, share your thoughts on that.
So I would say when I first got into business, resoundingly, yes, there was a significant difference. You could stereotype women leaders as more intuitive, people and relationship driven. Men were more bottom line, result driven. I mean, you could pretty much stereotype that right down. But today, I really think that, and I see it. I see it in EXP. I see it in male leaders. We have as many male leaders who are as driven by people and
Yeah.
they're people first. I see as many women who are focused on results, and I really think it's the beautiful thing is we've kind of adopted the best of both stereotypes, and the new leader today is just evolving to be an amazing, empowering leader. Um, I I think it's all about watching our labels, watching our mindsets, and not limiting ourselves by I'm a female leader or I'm a male leader. Yeah, yes. So I think we've evolved.
I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
would definitely agree with that. And I like what
Yeah.
you said, the best of both, right?
Yeah.
Because we've, over the years, over the decades, right, we've learned from each other. And I think there's a degree of, holding that accountability and support and expectation, because we want more for ourselves. And so therefore there's going to be a much, much better balance there.
Yeah. Now this is a global audience that we have
Correct. Yeah.
in this series. So this really can vary from country to country, culture to culture, and in my experience in North America and the United States is really a lot of what Parker is saying. Is I think we've really evolved. I think the expertise is the same. But the delivery and spirit in which it's delivered can vary. But I know a lot of men who really lead with empathy and lead from their heart. And I know women that are just, man, drivers and driven by the numbers and are competitive. So, but I think you really have to acknowledge how. Kind of that evolution of that really can vary around the world considerably.
Absolutely. Yes. And then
I think
also,
we're done.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Catherine.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think we're done evolving. And I think that's something, if we all recognize that, no matter what country you're in, or, I mean, I'm in the South. I forgot to say that in the beginning. Y'all probably figured it out by now. but like my daughter is a senior in high school, and she attends a special high school that's part of the university system. And it's where they focus on science, math, engineering, data sciences. And it's amazing to watch, like in her world, she's just one of many students there. In my world, I have to check my brain all the time to think like, yeah, I got a daughter at one of those schools. Like if I continue that mindset, then we'll always have these stereotypes, and I have to check myself and just let her be and let it go. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you took that thought. I was going to say, Parker, too, and thank you for saying it, though, because it's important that we are continuing to evolve. And so, because you hear about more and more in the business industry, the need for soft skills as well as hard skills. And so it is critical that we have that balance. And so, Parker, can you share with us some nuggets of advice, if you will, that helps to motivate women on a daily basis, to encourage them to follow their passion, their dreams? Yeah. Share some good little tidbits with us.
Cool. Yes, always. I've mentioned a few of them, like be brave enough to lead others. Be brave enough to lead yourself. Don't wait to be asked. Some of these things are tenets that we talk about in our department. Everyone should speak up. Your voice and your insight are valuable. I don't care what your title is. I don't care who you are on the team. Speak up. If you have something to say, do yourself and change a service and speak up. Make sure you're empowering others. As you go about your decisions, as you go about the way you organize yourself and your team, make sure it's empowering. I constantly ask myself, I challenge everyone around me to ask these questions. How might we? Why not? Is it safe to try? What would it look like if? So I'm encouraging everyone and empowering everyone to stay inquisitive and never stop learning.
Absolutely. It's kind of how you started speaking to us today. It's that learning that's going to continue, right? To evolve our expertise, define it, refine it. Absolutely. Jen, any nuggets that you can share with us too that encourages women to follow their passions and dreams?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about it earlier, but even just being transparent on where they want to go, right, within their next career path, or how that looks with the evolution of how fast EXP is growing, right, and being able to support that. What I like to say is authenticity is a superpower. So please don't compare yourself to other people. You're in your own journey, and just get started. If there's something, like I said, fail. If you're going to fail fast, move on. It's not ever going to be detrimental to the point that somebody's going to be losing their job. One team, one dream. So we all succeed together or we all fail together. I would never let anybody on my team feel like they were siloed to take a responsibility of like failing or if something went wrong, right? Like that's just not what we are about. And then as far as like just getting started, if one question I usually get on the social side, right, especially as like video is becoming more popular, a lot of people are scared to do like video content. And if you just get started, you might not like what you're going to put out there right now, but it's a good start. And then in a month from now, the content you put out there is going to be better. So it's just constantly evolving and pushing yourself outside of the boundaries of what you're comfortable with. That's the way that you're going to grow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I like when you say one team, one dream. It's kind of like the correlation of, the body has many parts and, one part falls and, you really want the other parts to kind of keep that together and, supporting each other. So yeah, absolutely. Julie, share with us nuggets that you have.
So here's a nugget that I have, and I remind myself this, and I like to remind anyone that I'm working with, or remind them of this, that like success and expertise, think of it this way, it's both an inside job and an outside job. So the inside job, so start with yourself, right? So am I being my best advocate on any given day? Do I have a vision? Is it written down? Do I have a daily mantra? So this is the inside part, okay? Am I solid there? And then think about the kind of the outside job of success and expertise. Who was it that said, I forget, that said, we're the average of the 5 people we're around the majority of the time. So you could think of that in different categories. That might be a work category. It may be just a personal life category. It may be who are my colleagues. So take inventory, but you may need to find members. You may need to add some people to that mix. You can like this week. So here's something tangible. So here's the coach in me showing up. Here's something tangible. You can always rely on me for that. Here's something tangible that each of us could do this week. Tell 5 people your story and your goal, and make sure your passion is part of that. And another thing you could do is this week, reach out to 5 people you admire who have achieved something impressive, and share with them your vision and ask for their advice. And if you're doing that as a regular process, or even just kind of as a project, if you talk to enough people, you're going to end up with some mentors. It'll happen organically. So it starts within, but there's stuff that we can do externally to support that. and move things forward.
I love that. That's so important. Yeah. To constantly, do both within and without. And that whole idea, Julie, of sharing your story. We hear that a lot because that does build confidence, but then it also helps us to get that feedback that you talked about too, asking how can we improve and develop because then it helps us to refine, right? The vision and expectations of where we're going. Yeah. So,
and I think it embeds it in your cells too. It's like, you may have the vision, but are you fully embodying it? Do you believe it? Are you really behind it? And so get out there and talk about it and share it with people that you value. And that's going to give some weight to it. It's going to help it have roots, because maybe the root system isn't quite in place yet. And you have some control over that process.
That's right. It's going to fertilize the process. Yes. Well said. So thank you. All right. So at this point, we are doing good time, ladies and everyone. And so what we're going to do now is transition to our Q&A. So this is you, our audience. We welcome you. If you have not already, please go ahead and share some of your questions in the Q&A. And again, I think it should be in the bottom center of your screen. And we do have a few questions, ladies, that have come in. So let me read to you. The first question is, can you please, okay, I think Parker, you're going to want to re-emphasize again, or no, was it Jen
it was
that
me.
talked about cash?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
cash talks. It's getting into conversations around knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. As we develop and refine those around any topic, around any level of expertise, we are constantly evolving and becoming our better selves. And don't feel like you have to deal with all 4 areas at once. Give yourself permission to focus 30 days, whatever, on an area and make a plan and delve into developing more knowledge about something, because that'll give us the confidence to get out and try. If you're scared, if you're holding yourself back, then it's the attitude. Let's focus on our attitude. Let's focus on a growth mindset. Sometimes we might have all the intention in the world, but we need to go develop some skills so that we can do something with it. And then at the end of the day, it's all about your habits. What habits have you defined for yourself? What habits do you build into your daily routine that will, change everything? So knowledge, attitude, skills, habits.
Absolutely. I get the feeling, Parker, there's going to be many teams, right, around the globe adopting that.
I know. I'm like, I want to go to that next meeting.
Exactly. Yes. All right. So the next question, this is a good one. How can you help women that sometimes feel undervalued by their leadership? So what are some points or some tips that you can share to, help break that?
Well, one, I hope that's not the situation right now. And if you are feeling undervalued, I apologize for that. We can always work on that. As far as feeling undervalued, right, I think one of the issues that we see is it's hard sometimes for women to really speak up for themselves and to really showcase all the things that they're doing. So sometimes it might not be a lack of awareness really on all the different parts that you play within the company. So being able to talk yourself up, right? Or being able to prove the different values that you're bringing to the company. And on the flip side, if you have somebody that you report to that you're very comfortable with, share that with them, right? Tell them that that's how you're feeling. And if they're a good leader, they should really be figuring out a way to support and empower you and making moves so that way you feel more comfortable, because everybody has value. Everybody's bringing something to the table. And I was going to say that kind of leads into the next question.
It does. Yeah. So go ahead and take that too.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say with the feelings of repression, right? I think we've all been in environments where we were told to suppress feelings, right? I don't think EXP is one of those companies. I think that if you are having feelings of despair or, looking weak or whatever, how can we flip that? How can your leadership team and the person that you report to, how can they make this environment better for you? If that's encouraging or empowering or putting a career path together to make you feel more valued and appreciated within the company, right? I mean, those things are really, really important. And then also, I'm just going to put it out there. I mentor other people and women within the company at EXP who are not on my team. So if you are really feeling this way, I am always all ears, and I will do anything to make sure other women are feeling supported and empowered and have a seat at the table. So if you're one of those and this is the current situation that you're going in, feel free to reach out to me on Workplace Chat. I don't have to say anything because I know it's anonymous right now, but just know that you do have a community within EXP who's willing to hear you out and take next steps to resolve whatever it is that you're going through.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Parker.
So mirroring what Jen is saying, please, I do also, get into conversations with other women in the company. I've reached out to some have reached out to me. And so please feel free. You do have an advocate in this company, no matter what lane they're in or where they are. But I wanted to share two things back to the question of feeling undervalued. So for us and our team and how we approach empowerment, we just launched a program where we're encouraging we always have encouraged everyone to speak up, but we formalized a path. We share as leadership everything we're working on, our goals, our strategies, just everything. And we build a Trello board that's open to every member of the team so that they can drop their ideas in, because they see it. Everyone at every level of the company sees and feels it differently. In how we use a product, how we interact with agents. So as leaders, ask yourself, are you giving full avenues, true, documented avenues to the people surrounding you to have a voice? Is there a real true way that they can speak up? We might say speak up, but who are they speaking up to? And then where is it visible? Jen said transparency earlier. I think that's really, really important as leaders and team leads and things like that. So let's ask ourselves, are we allowing people to have a voice?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Parker. That's important, because I remember Julie said earlier, opportunities to lean in as well, and how important that is. Yeah.
Well, and to have, so if you're part of a team, you may have an idea of what you need or want to lean in to, but does the team agree? So that's like a good conversation to have with the team. Right. It's like, hey, here's what I'm leaning in on kind of this week and this month. And does that align with the team? Does that align with the vision? Am I on track here? What a great exercise for a team to kind of go through that and to tweak it accordingly.
Yeah.
Constantly, right? There's the fluidity of this. It's ongoing. And I'll overlay this with kind of that inside job concept again. So it's like, a lot of this still starts, go internal first, I think. It's like, how am I showing up? How is my energy? How is my mindset? Do I have even like a daily mantra that I'm just kind of driving to really bring my best self to the table? So start there, because we have more control over that. So start internal and really make sure that you have a good personal foundation, and then you have these external pieces as well, and it's fluid.
Absolutely.
Katherine, one last thing I wanted to share about things we can do to help women who are feeling undervalued, or any team member who's feeling undervalued. I think it's really important that we consciously bring people with us. So if you are in a leadership position, you have the opportunity to showcase the talent around you. Don't speak for them, bring them with you. let them speak for themselves, let them showcase their expertise. You're the avenue to get them to the table. And if we keep reminding ourselves that and purposely organize ourselves that way, we will change everything.
Absolutely. That is a really good point. Because even Jen mentioned that earlier with folks on her team, as well. Bringing along is so key, because then you become also that person's, encourager, chief encourager, because here you are, and then you're positioning them right in a place where they can have their voice and start to kind of develop their own footing. So that's really important. So thank you, Parker.
Well, and I was going to add too, it's also super rewarding and validating, I think, as a leader, right, to see people succeed and to see them come in one way and to help mentor and grow and to see them become more empowered, right? So every step anybody on my team takes as far as like leveling themselves up or putting themselves out there, I am so freaking proud. Like I could not be more proud. I like brag about them in workplace chats, like, way to go, you're on stage. Like I'm not just an advocate, I'm a freaking cheerleader, you know what I mean? Like when they succeed, I succeed. So I get so jazzed and like re-energized by seeing my team really like live out their dream, and whatever that looks like, how can we make it happen? Like it's a fun, challenging opportunity that, I don't know, it's really an amazing feeling. So when they succeed, I succeed, vice versa. So
exactly. One team, one dream. Yay. So we're going to wrap with this final question today. So Parker, you mentioned Trello. I have to tell you that is a tool and a mechanism that's used on my team. And we're really, really good. My leadership is excellent in terms of, making sure we have round robins, actually several times a week, quite frankly, so to keep us informed and aware, and opportunities to speak into goals and visions. But the last question here, Parker, it was based on what you just said. Someone is asking, it's Melissa, she's asking, where can she find, I guess at a high level, does our company have kind of like a Trello for overall leadership? Or if you could speak a little bit more in terms of how something like that can be set up.
Sure, absolutely. In fact, we are all, as executive leaders, we're looking at a mechanism, a tool, a software, so that we can be more transparent across all departments, across all brands, with agents, anyway. And it's like cascading strategies and our OKRs, and what is every department looking on, trying to break out of silos. So I think there's more to come. We're going to be playing with some software over the next couple of months, trying out some different things for transparency. So more to come. But if you ever have any questions about where executive leadership is leaning, and then where all the departments are leaning, just ask. We'll meet with you, talk to you, share with you, whatever you need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And again, ladies, this has been so empowering and encouraging. Just want to appreciate all of you for being here, as our panelists. Thank you, the audience, for listening in today, participating. There's so much excitement now coming back in the feedback with chat. So we've really, really enjoyed this. And I believe we are going to stop in just a few seconds. So again, as Parker said, if you have any questions, reach out to any one of the ladies and us, and we'll answer back. But thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the events coming up in the weeks ahead. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.